you probably heard of me. Got a bag and fix my teeth. Hope you hoes know it ain't cheap. And I pay my mama bills. I ain't got no time to chill.
Sakshi Naralatat. Hi, my name is Taty Hernandez and I go by Taty. Yo nací en Los Ángeles, mi familia es de Oaxaca, México. Nosotros somos indígenas, somos zapotecos, and it's something that I'm really proud of, is my heritage, and it's something that I really try to bring into my art. My current project is essentially around this topic of cannibalism. Cannibalism has been used as a myth across the Americas to essentially justify the colonization and enslavement of Native and African peoples. So what colonizers would do is they would come, they would say, these people are cannibals, therefore they cannot be Christianized, and so we will enslave them and take their land. The other part of the topic of cannibalism comes from this modernist movement that happened in Brazil that was called anthropophagia. And essentially that translates to cannibalism. And what Brazilian artists and intellectuals were doing at the time is they were essentially reappropriating this idea of cannibalism, and specifically because in Brazil there was a native group called the Tupinamba, and they were labeled as cannibals. So these Brazilian artists were reappropriating what it meant to be labeled this, and so they were cannibalizing European culture and different cultures to make something that they felt was distinctly Brazilian. What was problematic about that movement is that it didn't take into account positionality or race or any sort of power structures. So in my interpretation of this topic, I am working and building from my own heritage and repertoire of images to take something that is ancient, like Zapotec symbols and clay as a medium, like a very old medium, and propelling it into something futuristic. So trying to create this indigenous futurism that is based off of an alternative history, that when colonizers came in 1492 and the explorers came in 1492, we killed them, and so our cultures are able to flourish and grow. So that's kind of the creation of this new environment, this new dimension that I'm working with. And I take a lot of inspiration from other artists, specifically Black artists who've created this very big, vast field of Afrofuturism. Part of the performance was me even creating these, like what did it mean for me to be creating these in this repertoire, and the other part was I carried one of these heads around for a number of weeks and recorded it, and also just was documenting how I was feeling, because it's a very traditionally a symbol of power, like Greco-Roman aesthetic has been highly prioritized. So for me, the juxtaposition of this head that's in pain or essentially in a very vulnerable position in these brown queer hands, native hands, and what did that mean for it to now just be to be in a place of vulnerability where it isn't traditionally in this space. So when I started making art, a lot of it was me processing, learning about these very violent histories. I didn't learn about these histories in my high schools, again, because we were under-resourced, and we just didn't learn, like most other American schools, didn't learn about the true history of slavery and colonization in the US and in the Americas. So when I was making art, initially it was just about processing the understanding of white supremacy and specifically of racism against indigenous peoples. So it was focused a lot on that oppression and the different manifestations of that oppression. But I realized that I wanted to leave from that space and to a more healing framework. So imagining new possibilities. And I think the job of the artist is a big one, because they are the producers of culture, and they sort of reimagine what the future can look like or what society can look like, and they have the power to do that. And so for me, I wanted to make sure that I was trying to come up with something that I felt was healing, not just for me, but could be healing for other people as well.
I got the trunk in the front, I'm the hottest in the street. Know you probably heard of me. Got a bag and fix my teeth. Hope you hoes know it ain't cheap. And I pay my mama bills. I ain't got no time to chill.